This is where we hold them. This is where we fight.
You are now listening to Sweep the Rack podcast featuring Brooklyn Rob and Big Mike.
Everybody's commenting in the chat because I retired the headphones. The headphones are gone, and I got a mic. And, you know, I'm sure there's people like Brian McDonough who says in the chat, Princess Leia, got to plug that mic in, Mike Pirate. I'm sure there's people like Brian McDonough who think that people's harassment or silly comments to me in the chat are what prompted me retiring my headphones and picking up a mic. You'd be wrong, dopes. Okay? You'd be wrong. All right? I'll tell the story of why I got the mic. I alluded to this on Twitter. I was on vacation a couple weeks ago, actually. It was like a random Saturday. I was chilling. My phone rings. Who is it? It's Stu Williams, who rarely reaches out, if ever. Okay. I was intrigued. Like, why is Stu Williams reaching out to me in the middle of the summer when there's nothing going on in the bowling world? So I answered. He called me to tell me that, as I knew, his wife is a huge fan of Sweep the Rat podcast. She listens to every episode.
What up, Tina?
Shout out to Tina Williams. Okay.
What up, Tina? What up, girl?
But that was not the point of his phone call. The point of his phone call was to tell me that I needed to get rid of the headphones and get a microphone because he could no longer listen to the podcast with his wife in the car due to the varying difference in quality between your microphone and my microphone. So that got me thinking, okay, perhaps I need to get a mic. I need to get rid of the headphones. So I got rid of the headphones. Here's my mic. I hope you all enjoy it. If Stu and Tina happen to be listening to this podcast together, I hope the sound quality is much better. Feel free to text me and let me know. If it's not, I don't know. I don't know where we're going from there. I don't know. I guess adjustments will have to be made at some point. But
yeah, I mean, I think as long as we're on the same level, I think like audio level.
Nonetheless, that is the reasoning behind me switching mics, retiring the headphones. Okay, I liked the headphones personally. I liked the headphones. You know, I had no problem with the headphones, but
yeah, and for everyone out there, I am on the laptop mic because my normal mic, which might be the same one you have, it actually broke off the attachment like on the back of it. So I'm in between mics right now. So hopefully I sound okay. The laptop's usually decent, but not exactly my finest.
I am not on a laptop mic. I assure you my mic is hooked up correctly. So it doesn't sound good. That just speaks to the quality of the mic.
Trying big mic. That's it. Big mic, got a big mic.
The headphones are retired. That's that. Okay. So just wanted to let everybody know why that change is taking place. Hope you're all happy with it. Okay. We'll move forward from there. Rob, league review.
Let's hear it.
I did bowl last week. I think this week is the last week of summer league. Thank goodness. I'm going to say this, and if you want to discuss, we can a little bit. If people want to comment in the chat, comment in the chat. I don't understand how people bowl on house conditions for 36-week league.
Oh, here we go.
Can't understand it. Can't understand it. Can't do it. Can't get it. It's not fun. It's not fun. It's not fun for numerous reasons. It's just not fun.
Why isn't it fun? Let's hear it. What's the details? Why do you think it's not fun bowling on a house shot?
One reason it's not fun is because it's gotten to a point where no matter how you throw it, you can have success. Okay? That's one reason it's not fun. Another reason it's not fun. Another reason it's not fun is because it basically comes down to getting 9 or striking. Okay. Basically comes down to getting 9 or striking every frame. And it's just not fun. I don't understand how people do it. That's my takeaway from bowling on house stuff during the summer. I don't understand how people consistently do it for a 36-week league. I mean, I get it if people are at a certain level and that's what that's what they're geared to bowl on. Fine, not talking about those people. I'm talking about more the people that are your better players on the house shot environments. But it's just not fun. Not
Mike,
fun.
is this D Jesse, by the way, in the chat right now?
I don't know. It
Looks like
could be a hacker posing as Jesse the way things are going for you. I don't know.
Bro, I wouldn't surprise me if hackers are watching the show right now, honestly. Yeah, Jesse, we're gonna get into your response tonight. And then hit us up if you want to come on and talk about it. Be more than happy to have you on as a guest, honestly.
No, Charlie is in the chat saying I've turned over a new leaf on the Purveyor Fund. No, I'm not. I'm really not. I don't want people to have that much fun. I'd much rather bowl on the tougher stuff, especially if you're at a certain point. I understand, though, that side of the game has a place for sure, and I've never said that it doesn't. I'm just speaking in certain instances. Nonetheless, that's kind of my takeaway. I just really don't enjoy it. I would much rather struggle on something challenging and bowl terribly than get 9 consistently throughout the night and literally be bored by shooting the same spares over and over again and frustrated because I'm just struggling to knock down 10 pins while other people seem to be able to get breaks, I would say. So, yeah, just frustrating. It is what it is, though.
So
there's what word do I want to use? Let me be careful here what I say, because I know there's people that listen to this podcast that know me personally or are somewhat involved in this conversation. All right, here's what I'm going to say. There's a lot of negativity surrounding the sport league.
Negativity in what way?
Like there's people who are leaving the league because I guess they didn't enjoy their experience, and I'm hearing through the grapevine, and I've actually checked with a few people on this too. I've made a few phone calls to kind of see what's going on with this. They're kind of like bashing the whole league and the idea on the way out. And I feel this is just me. This is just me talking. Okay, I'm not saying anybody said this to me or anything. Okay, I feel like in part they're doing it to try and wreck the league. Not only so that the people who bowl our league go and bowl other leagues that they're bowling or going to bowl, but also just because people want to see it fail. I feel like people want to see it fail.
Why? Why would they have an investment in seeing the league fail?
Because I don't think that they want that side of the game around. I think as long as that side is around consistently, there's going to be people around them who question what the other side, who question what they do on the other side, as long as that sports side is around and everybody's aware of it and can see it on a regular basis.
So by sport leagues being around, and these are people who bowled in the league?
Yes.
You're saying it literally ruins their credibility as a good bowler since they bowled in the league?
I'm saying that in part, I feel like that could be some of the thinking that's going on. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So do you feel like that could be valid?
I mean, people are miserable in general. I mean, especially on social media. I think people look to be negative and to be toxic whenever they have the chance to do it. Makes themselves maybe feel better about themselves. You hear a lot more bad things than you do good things these days online, especially Twitter and places where there's a little bit of anonymous, like you could be more behind the keyboard. And I mean, you could even see some of our chat. Like we have people that are signing in that we don't know who they are. They didn't use their real names, but it just is general. And there's a chance they go online and maybe. I mean, I wouldn't put past the people to do that.
Like I had someone call me the other day, and they were like, "Hey, I heard that the sport league's not getting off the ground." And I told them, I said, I haven't heard anything to that sort. No one has said that to me. I've been in touch with the person who's running the league. I know we might have to change some things. I know we might not have as many teams as we did last year, but no one has said anything to me. Okay. So this person who called me telling me he heard from more than one person, 3 people he's telling me have said, no, the league's done. It's not getting off the ground. So I told, and he wanted an answer right away because he needs to decide what he's going to do league wise if that league's not running. Okay, just to clarify why he's requesting this information at this point right now. So I called the person running the league, and I said, "Hey, listen, so and so said that so and so, so and so, and so and so all told him that our league is not running, is not going to get off the ground. Is there truth to that? What's going on?" Person tells me, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Those people are not bowling. They're not coming back, and they've made that clear to me. And this, this is the stuff that gets me thinking. And they're all going to bowl the same league. Okay, all the people that aren't coming back are going to bowl the same league somewhere else, right? And they just also happen to be saying that our league is not going to get off the ground. Okay. Yeah. So, it's just, it's a little frustrating.
I want to bring this comment up because this was I was going to talk about. Brian, what's up, Brian? House shot leagues is fine for social pizza and beer. Sports shot league is for competition. Here's my final thought on this, Mike, and I think we can move on, after you respond. There is a place in bowling for a house shot league, okay? The only place it is for the league is what that local house wants to run some leagues, maybe the low mix leagues, beginner leagues, whatever you want to call them, right? Beer, fun leagues, Vegas leagues, whatever you want to call that, right? And I'm always going to die on this hill, and I get a lot of shit for it. I get a lot of slack for it. But I really believe this. If the USBC, the sanctioning body, is going to sanction the league, and you're going to pay a membership, and they're going to give whatever benefits they have, they need to put some kind of pattern out. Let alone it could be a little bit of a higher scoring sport shot. There could be a middle scoring of the road. I think the league and the leagues need to vote on what patterns they want at the beginning of the year, and let the league bowlers decide if they want to bowl on the higher scoring, the middle scoring, and higher scoring patterns are still you're still forced to still have a little bit of understanding of what's going on, right? The higher scoring sport patterns, if you don't know what you're doing, can still be very hard for beginner type players and even middle of the road type players. But my opinion, and I will die on this hill, is that if the USBC is sanctioning the league, it has to be on some pattern, and relying on the house to put out their own house shots and then sanctioning those leagues is where the problem is. If the house wants to put out a house shot league, and the house then needs to be responsible for the honor scores and whatever prizes they want to give to the bowlers. I understand that if this happens and this is the way that the USBC is going to lose membership, I get it. That's why it'll never happen. But in my opinion, for the sake of the game long term, it's a fix for the integrity and for the honor, the integrity of the scores, and for actually making it so that if you bowl a 300 or you bowl an honor score and you have it sanctioned, it actually means something these days.
Fair. I mean, yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to disagree with any of that. But part of what's going on with the league is also, as I've mentioned previously, the changes that we're being forced to make. From Bolero, they want us bowling with at least 3 on a lane. We can no longer be a doubles league. So it looks like we're going to move to 3-person teams, which is sort of a nightmare because now all these teams of 2 that were already arranged are going to have to find a third person, and some of them are probably not going to be able to find a third person. Now, personally, to me, I don't really care, Rob. Like, I'll show up and bowl even if there's 8 teams.
Yeah, it's just
people. I don't really care.
I'm
not there for the money. I'm not there for any other reason than just to get some competition on something challenging, right? So to me, it doesn't matter. But I know that I'm obviously in the minority in that, right. Especially when there's other leagues that have 50 teams in it on the same night that are bowling on house. So I'll keep everybody updated as to where it goes. But we're also being forced to make a lot of changes by Bolero, and I feel like that has a lot to do with it as well. So right now, it looks like I'll still be bowling on Tuesday nights during the winter on a sport pattern, but I will keep everybody updated as to where we are on that. And you know what? I got to be honest with everybody. If it folds, it folds. I'm going to be honest with you. I've done everything I can do to try and make this work. I have. It's been in 2 different bowling centers under 2 different formats for 3 different seasons. I've donated at least 6 or 7 bowling balls to be raffled off for this league to try and draw people to the league, to try and give people an incentive to bowl. So if it folds, it folds. I'm really not going to look at it as the end of the world. I'm just going to have to find another outlet for me to bowl, to bowl in that environment. Okay, so league report on the house was I bowled terribly. I get in the wrong frame of mind, bro. I get frustrated. I get in the wrong frame of mind. I think the last game I shot 250 and my series was like 640. So it's definitely subpar for what I've been shooting. But it had nothing to do other than me just absolutely giving very little care to what I was doing. I think I missed a 5-pin at one point just because I threw the ball down the middle of the lane. I know I missed a 6-pin. It was just ridiculous. It was ridiculous. It was silly. It was silly. But yeah, I just get in that mind frame of frustration. I get in that mind frame of frustration of like being tired of bowling on in that type of environment, and it's hard to stay in it mentally. So I didn't have that great a week. I recovered the last game by shooting 250, but that's
it just shows you though, like how mental bowling is as a sport. And that's the one thing.
I can't hear you. Can everybody hear Rob? I can't hear Rob. Sorry, Rob.
Well, test.
Can everybody hear Rob? Or
I think that's you. Could people hear me? Test. Am I being hacked? Did we lose? Yeah, Robert can hear me.
This is not good.
They can hear me. It's you. Mike's computer's been crazy, making noises and all kinds of stuff. So they can hear you both. Mike can't hear me, so that's a problem. Hold on, people. Give us a minute. Anyway, so I'll finish what I was talking about. I've been talking about how in the last 5 years of this podcast, how important the mental game is as just in the sport, and how it really separates everybody from literally the men from the boys. And when you're not in the right mental space in bowling, it affects your game regardless of how easy or hard the lanes are. If you're not in the right state of mind, it's gonna affect you. So I kind of feel like if you really want to improve your game and you want to take your game to the next level and you feel like physically you're fine, go literally take sports psychology classes. Like, it's really important for like you to develop the mental side of the game. Mike, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you again.
Okay. No, I was just talking about how I'm on my like soapbox right now, talking about how important the mental game is, and regardless of how easy or hard the shot is, like you gotta be in the right mental space. And if you want to get better in your game and you feel like improving physically, you're throwing it fine. Like, go like see sports psychologists, go see a golf psychologist. I saw a golf sports psychologist that helped me tremendously when I was bowling competitively. And golf translates, the mental game translates so good to the game of bowling.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm also a hack, so there's
You're a hack too. All right, let's talk about some other stuff.
People are mentioning the king of the patch pirates, whose name I don't even want to mention in the chat. People are bringing up the king of the patch pirates. Tim Sorrells, one of our friends from the show, texted me this week and told me that the king of the patch pirates is now going back to one-handed. He was one-handed, then he was two-handed. Now he's going back to one-handed again. Listen, I want to be clear. I have bad news for him, for the king of the patch pirates. It doesn't matter. Okay. I just want to throw that out there. All right. Let's talk about the big story this week, Rob.
Oh, my God. Do we have to?
No, we do. We have to, because we talked about it last week when we had only heard from Darren Tang.
Only heard from Darren Tang's point of view.
As we got on the show last week, Jesse, his partner, dropped his response, and it was an hour and 17 minutes long. And I'm not going to lie to you, I logged right off of this and hopped right onto my phone and spent the next hour and 17 minutes listening to his response. People love drama. People love the beef. What do you want me to say? Right. I know you've listened to it. I don't. Did you get through the whole thing or no? Because okay. So, but I know that you were your skepticism was raised early in listening to Jesse's response, right? And I'll let you comment on that in a minute. But nonetheless, interesting response, interesting content. Okay. So go ahead, Rob. Give us your take.
So I jumped the gun when I made my post on our Facebook page because I listened to Jesse's response, and in the first like 5 or 10 minutes, he went into talking about how Darren was giving him kind of like the keys to the like kingdom, right, from the YouTube channel. Like, he specifically said, hey, like, Darren just wants to put his content out, but Jesse said that I will be collecting all of the profits from the YouTube channel, right? I
think to be more specific, I believe in his response, Jesse said that Darren had mentioned to him at some point in the process that it was Darren's vision that he, be involved in producing the content for the channel, but that the income from the channel went to the person who was running the channel.
Correct.
Right? And that this influenced Jesse's perspective on being involved in the channel early on, because he then felt that at some point in the future, he was going to be making the bulk of the income off of this channel, right? If he was able to build it into something.
Correct.
Jesse got into how he was not charging Darren anywhere near what his regular rates were for producing videos in the beginning of their relationship. I think that $250 was the fee that he mentioned, right? And it was like 4 videos a month for $1,000, right? Whereas normally he was charging much more than that for the same level of service. Okay.
So I guess let me jump in here because I want to say why I was.
I'm just trying to be as clear as possible.
Okay. So why I had some skepticism on that first part of it is the fact that Darren said, well, he's making enough money bowling. And we all know that's not the case. Okay. I'm sorry, Darren, but we all know that's not the case. Okay. Darren's not making any money bowling. Okay.
And to be clear, it's true. I mean, that's true of most of the people out there, right? It's like you're not insulting anybody by saying that.
It's not on Darren, right? It's not on Darren, like Darren. I'm just saying Darren hasn't exactly had the most profitable earning, like, history the last couple years on tour, right? He switched to two-handed. I mean, okay. So as soon as Jesse said that, I started to have skepticism and I shut the video off and I put the post up. I jumped the gun, okay? And I admit it. I said it. I'm gonna watch because everybody jumped in on it, and they were like, "Look, watch the whole video because he had receipts." And you heard that from numerous people. He took receipts. He had receipts. He showed the receipts. I'm like, receipts? Like, what do you mean receipts? Like, I'll just start. So I did what you did. I jumped on it. I listened to his full response. Okay. And man, like, I'm happy I listened to it. Okay. The whole thing. I did at the end of watching both videos being completely neutral in this whole drama. Because Mike, we're neutral parties here, right? We don't know Jesse. We've never met Jesse. I met Darren once or twice. He's been on the show, but that's as far as it goes with Darren. So we're definitely mutual, right? I was tending to be on Jesse's side, and I think as a lot of people, I did clearly say on last week's show, even after we didn't hear Jesse's side of it, I don't know why Darren put this out in the first place. I don't know why he did.
I said that if it was a 50-50 thing, terrible decision by him. I mean, just based off of what he put out there, what Darren put out there in his YouTube video, I had said that last week. I mean, that's just something that you don't want to do. You know,
Why?
even if the content creator, in this case Jesse, wants more money per video or wants to be paid more for what they're doing, you know, if I'm in Darren's position, then I'm gonna pay them more and hope that the channel grows and I'm making more money, and it's not a big deal to pay them more. But yes, go ahead, Rob.
So I'm gonna read Jesse's comment. Jesse, we probably should get you on the show so we could have a more fluent conversation. He said when they started working together, it was after his breakout season in 2020. He was the #1 seed at Jonesboro Open, and he made some shows. I'd have to look at what his earnings were.
I brought that up to you, Rob, in our conversation about the video. I you know, when you made that point about why would he say that, you know, he wasn't making that kind of money from bowling, like, yeah, this was when he was breaking out, right? Obviously things went in the opposite direction from that, right?
I know, but listen,
according to go downhill, and what I mentioned to you is in that time, it probably became income that he needed more, right? You would imagine, you know, so he probably regretted doing that deal, you know. So yeah, definitely not a good look for Darren Tang. I mean, just in the terms of, you know, everybody's seen the pineapple memes and everything going on this week, like, you know, just in terms of info like that, you know, if that's the way you're treating people, you know, you're involved in business relationships with, or just generally speaking, on a personal level, not a good look, right? I don't really care who you are, what your status is in any community, let alone the goofball bowling community. Okay, but at the same time, there's always a middle ground to these situations.
Right? Mike, I'm sending Jesse. I'm going to send him the link. We're going to bring him on. Jesse, email swooptherack@gmail. I don't want to ask you for your email in the chat. I don't want everyone having your email. So just send me your email and email us, and I'll send you the link. We'll get you on. We'll talk to you for a few minutes.
But there's always that middle ground, right? There's always going to be that middle ground between where both people are at, and I definitely feel like this situation is part of that. You know, it's an example of that. You know, where there's probably that middle ground somewhere where they are both seeing it from different perspectives, but there's a third way to see it that's probably more in the middle and probably more accurate than one side or the other. But as you said already, poor decision to put that out. Poor decision to put that video out. You just should have let it go. You just should have moved on. You know.
Dude, I'm excited to get Jesse on right now. This is a complete impromptu interview, by the way. That like we're bringing him on to talk to him. But yo, like it made him look worse, Darren. And I mean, after it was all said and done, after all the cards were dealt, Darren came out looking a lot worse. Yeah, he got a good views on that video. I think he was over 100,000 views last time I checked. So if he was looking to create drama, create views and clicks, then he probably achieved that goal. But ultimately, at what costs? Because I think he's been getting bombarded in his like YouTube like comments, and people can be very, very cruel in those YouTube comments. So I'd be curious to see what your thoughts on after it was all said and done, Mike. Like, am I wrong? Did you like have a different like view of Darren after like that whole like pineapple deal and like all the stuff that Jesse was talking about?
Well, yeah, as I said, like on a personal level or on a level of how you treat people, you know, if what Jesse was saying is accurate, then yeah, that's certainly not a good look, you know, for Darren. I would think. I mean, and I believe that's what a lot of the backlash and that's what a lot of people's responses were kind of focused on. That's why you see so much, so much generation of social media content over the pineapple thing, right? And then for Darren Tang to double down, okay, for Darren Tang to double down and put out the pictures that he put out of throwing a pineapple or 3 pineapples in the bowl in the bowling bag.
Stupid.
Go ahead. You want to comment on it? I mean, you're shaking your head.
Yeah, because that story was probably the most out of all of the things that Jesse said in an hour and 15 minutes, that made him look the worst, right? Having a word to say, if anybody doesn't know what we're talking about, Jesse in his response said that there was a word pineapple. And if Darren said the word pineapple, immediately like cue Jesse to stop talking. Right. And this is more towards like when Darren was giving lessons or Darren was on the lanes doing like content or maybe even bowling, whatever. One, like, who does that? Who gives a word to another human being, a friend, a business partner, to tell someone to be quiet in a sense? Like, and 2, he also started using it on like the golf course, Jesse was saying. So if this story is true and this is credible and this is like really, then my perspective of Darren completely changed from what it was prior, because in no way should you ever have that with a friend or business partner. Like, that's just, it's cruel and it's controlling.
Yeah, and again, I think a lot of the backlash that I saw in response to these back and forth on the internet was focused around that, right? So yeah, I think a lot of people, Rob, kind of had the same reaction that you're outlining there. Go ahead.
Why double down on it and make fun of it? Like,
I don't know.
To me, that's even more like you don't have a sense of why people are one.
Yeah, I was going to say it's because you're out of touch.
You're out of touch.
That's what it is, right? You're out of touch. Like you're out of touch with the average person, you know. And I don't. I'll be honest. As a bowler, I don't know how that can be the case. Like, say whatever you want about how whatever levels these guys have competed at throughout their lives, but when it all boils down to it, they're people who grew up in the bowling alley. You know, they're bowling alley rats, most of them. I mean, we all were at one time if you were really into the game. So, like, you know, I think if you know, you're that out of touch with the common person, I question how that happens. Being affiliated and associated with the game in such a deep way for such a long time. My other take on this, Rob, is this. Because everybody knows we're good friends with Bill, right? And we've encouraged Bill over the years, and others that we know who have bowled on tour or still bowl on tour, to do this social media thing before Brad and Kyle and these guys ever started with it. Yes. Okay. So my final take on this, after seeing this and also seeing Brad and Kyle, is that I think somebody like Bill did the right thing by not listening to us.
Oh.
And keeping the main thing. Okay, because when you allow the side business of social media to become the main thing, okay, which is the case with Darren Tang, which is the case with Brad and Kyle, okay, and I will say, partly so because bowlers get paid so little. Okay, if they got paid golf money, would these guys care about their social media income?
No, they would care about the social media brand. They wouldn't care about the income.
They would care about the image, right? They would care about what's put out in the image. But are they going? What I'm saying, Rob, is would they care about the $10,000 a month they're making from their YouTube account? No, they wouldn't. No. They couldn't care less about it. No. But because bowling's in the position that it's in, this becomes the main thing. The YouTube income becomes the main thing. Right. And then it's like, well, now I'm more of a YouTube content generator than I am a professional bowler. But at the same time, these guys want to win. They want to be competitive. You know, so it's a tough spot to put yourself in. You know, I think okay, go ahead.
I want to bring on Jesse because I don't want to go 2 hours tonight. But Jesse's in the waiting room, so let's bring Jesse on. Let's see if we could.
Do it.
He's not wearing the bandana though, man. That's
no bandana.
No bandana. What's up, Jesse? What's happening?
Yo. Here, let me turn this sideways to make it better for you guys.
Look at that. Where are you at right now? Where are you?
I am in the Orleans casino. We're on dinner break for a poker tournament. So you guys called me just at the right time. So,
how you doing? How's your stack?
Doing well, not bad. Let's see. Blinds will be at, I think, 5.5 when I get back, and I've got like 150K. So it's like about double average. It's not as high as it was before, but it's okay. We'll get it back.
All right, so we're here, and last week, obviously this week we're talking about the content that you and Darren put out there over the last week or so. I guess for somebody who may not have checked out your video, right? And I know you put out a shorter version as well. Somebody mentioned that in the chat.
Yeah.
For some of the people who might catch this that haven't watched your video, what one or two big things do you want them to take away from it?
To be honest, like the goal of my video was not even close to what has happened. In no way, shape, or form did I have any intention on bashing Darren in any way. You know, like the internet is obviously going to take things and run with it. And to a sense, he kind of is saying the same thing about his own reason for putting out the video. Although I do think the attitude and the execution of it couldn't have been further apart.
Yeah, well, that was one of the big mistakes he made in his video, was starting it off by saying, "Oh, I'm not here to bash anybody or make anybody seem bad." And then for the next 17 minutes, he did nothing but straight drag you. So I understand. I mean, honestly, bro, I don't know you from Adam, but I don't think you should be apologizing for in any way that you came at him.
Oh no, not.
You know, I think once he put that content out there with your name in it and the way he did, all bets were off. And if you don't, if even from his perspective, like if he doesn't see that coming, then that's on him and that's his fault. But all right. So again, the big takeaways that you want people to get out of it.
Yeah, I mean that's the first one, right? For somebody that hasn't watched it, right? It's not an hour and 15 minute of me taking shots back at Darren. It's a breakdown of everything that he accused me of. Essentially, that's the number one thing. Like I came with every kind of evidence that I could have, and that's it. And the other thing I'd say is, gosh, it's hard because there's so much context that I had to give throughout everything to make it make sense. Even the short version was only 30 minutes, and so to kind of break it down into two or three points, it's hard to do that. But like I'll touch on the money thing that you guys were talking about just a second ago. Like when he's talking about like why would he even want to give away all that YouTube money? It's kind of because at the time we didn't know really what was attainable. Now we do. We didn't know how big we could grow. You know, Brad and Kyle were only at 85,000 when we started. Like we didn't know how big this could get. Multi five figures was not anywhere, you know what I mean, where bowling social media was, you know, per month. Um, and so in his mind, I think I'm thinking like if he's saying like, okay, I just want to start a YouTube channel and have the editor make the money for it, it's because we're in like a $2,000 to $3,000 range. You know what I mean? We didn't know how big it would get. And I think that's a lot of where that specific comment came from. Which is why I didn't really press it later on, you know, because it got way bigger than we thought. That's fine. You know what I mean? I'm happy with the money I was making.
I
So
think you
it's good.
probably you may not have realized at that time just how broke bowlers are, bro. I don't know.
No, that's true.
Three
For sure.
thousand a month, 3,000 a month to a bowler, even a professional bowler, is like that's some eye opening scratch.
Yeah, but we also have to like again, I one thing I do want to say real quick before we get any further again is I really want you guys to protect the integrity of your show, and having me on one sided is kind of unfair a little bit, you know, to dive deep into my thing. You know, I put out my side. So if you know what I mean, like I would recommend absolutely, I don't think he's gonna do it, but I would recommend reaching out to him to get his side if you know what I mean, just again for the sake of integrity
And
in this
just
case.
so everyone knows, the vast majority of the bowling community knows that they have an open invitation to come here whenever they want. They have our numbers, they have our contact, they have our email.
Yeah,
Just
I have Darren's stuff. I'll
happens all
reach
the
out to
time
him.
that people know that. So just putting that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll reach
like
out.
I said, I want to make everything fair. I don't
Yeah,
need
no,
to
this
pull
is
advantages or
as
you know
far
what I
as
mean.
Rob and I are concerned, this is an open forum for people that are involved in the bowling community to a certain degree. You know,
That's good.
and we're willing to have anybody on to hear them out and hear whatever it is, whether they want to promote something, whether there's beef we're discussing, whether they're upset with us about something, whatever it is, we're always willing to let people come on and use our platform in any, you know, in a way, again, that if they're involved in the bowling community, we're willing to engage them that way. But all right,
So-
Rob, go ahead.
I got a question, Jesse, and we got to
Yeah.
talk about pineapple because
Okay.
when you made this video an hour and 15 minutes, it's a two-part question. One, did you think that the story was going to get as much like microscope to that, like when you were telling that story, did you feel like it was going to blow up as much as it did? Because that's what a lot of people were really talking about. And two, what were your thoughts on Darren Tang like doubling down on his social media posts, like posting himself actually throwing pineapples or putting that in his bowling bags? Because personally, like I feel like that whole story you told is a very, very, very telling story about how Darren is off the camera. If that's, you know, the story is true, I feel like that made him look really bad. It made him look controlling. It just made him look like an asshole, really. And I wanted your thoughts on just like the actual like comment or the story and what you thought like of his double down Facebook post.
Sure. I honestly did not see this whole safe word concept quite as odd as the whole world is seeing it right now. Because I don't know if you guys remember the quote that I said. I said, regardless of whose idea it was mutually agreed upon. And so I feel like in that case, when two people, like you could throw whatever you want in there. If two people are agreeing that this is okay for their relationship, then it's kind of between them and nobody else. You know what I mean? And so in that case, I didn't really think the pineapple thing was weird when it came to coaching, student type, environment in the bowling alley. The only part that got weird for me was when it was on the golf course. And I don't think Darren would ever deny that this story exists because we've had multiple people kind of mediate conversations in our relationship throughout the years where Darren was the one that actually brought up the story, not myself. And so he was very much fond of the safe word and wasn't afraid to tell anybody before. So I don't know why he would deny it now. And two, his doubling down on the pineapple thing, I think was not a bad strategy if he did it correctly. I just don't think he did it correctly. I think the thing that really shot him in the foot, I don't know if you guys saw my story that day or if it got posted anywhere else, but Carolyn Doran Ballard and Leanne Holstenberg do a podcast, I think weekly or monthly or whatever. I haven't seen it before that day, but
Yeah, hall passes.
Carolyn, yeah, Hall Pass, yeah. Carolyn reached out to Darren for a quote for that day for her to kind of speak on behalf of him, or give him a voice for the viewers of her podcast. And he said something along the lines of, I don't know, it's not right here in front of me, so I can't quote it exactly, but something along the lines of, I've made my statement, I stand by it. I said my piece and I'm making peace with it. I'm making an effort to stay off of social media because there's no sense in adding fuel to the fire. And that was on the same day that he uploaded the pineapple pictures. And so I took that and I memed it and I put it on my story and I put funny music and everything. And then everybody went crazy over it. So he did that to himself once again. So again, the execution wasn't great, but I think had he not made that statement to CDB and then leaned into it in a better way, then it's fine. The strategy of leaning into it is fine, but he just didn't do it very well.
Yeah, and as I was just saying to Rob, what I took away from your video mostly was that, these guys are professional bowlers. They're trying to win. They're trying to make a career out of it. And it seems like the main thing stopped being the main thing. And you guys, you talked about how much you had going on in terms of the actual content for the channel, plus the merch that you guys had, plus you started the howtobowl.com. And as I'm listening to all that, I'm thinking, okay, well, he's being stretched thinner and thinner and thinner away from the thing that should be the main thing, right? And I definitely, I don't think that's good for any of these guys.
I'm not sure that I would fully agree with that on Darren's behalf. Again, I can't fully speak for him, but I will say
you talked a lot about how you tried to take that off of his plate. Right.
Correct. I didn't try.
Talk a lot about that, but to be honest, it's hard. What I'm trying to say is it's hard enough to do what they're trying to do anyway.
Yeah. Sorry. I didn't try. It was off of his plate.
Right.
Like he just had to show up to the bowling alley and film videos and then go home. Like that's it. And I had no complaints about that. Like I was okay with the content being the main thing. And bowling being the main things for him. Right? That's his dream, to be a professional bowler and leave a legacy within the sport. All power to him, and I wanted to support him on that 100%. When it came to the content, yeah, I mean, I didn't, like I said, I was like, that's my job. My role was the content guy, and his role is the bowling guy. As long as we did that together harmoniously, then it was fine. But
let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question though, right? Mm-hmm. So I understand that perspective. I get you. I feel you. And I as I said in your response, you made that very, very clear, right? And I thought, wow, that was great of you if that's really what you were trying to do. The reason I'm saying what I'm saying is because at some point the YouTube channel had to become one of his main sources of income.
Oh, it absolutely was.
He wasn't 100%. Making money bowling, Hoss.
Yeah,
he wasn't making so he ain't making money, but now that YouTube channel and the content becomes so much more important to him, I feel, because that's where a lot of your income is coming from. And regardless of whether you have your partner trying to dull the responsibility you have in that or take care of that angle of it, if that's something that is putting bread on your table, that's inevitably going to become more of a concern for you. And that's sort of my thinking there, right? You can still go out and bowl. You can still do your thing. He may not have been asked to do much as far as the content, but mentally, it's got to be impacting you in some way that this is becoming your main source of income, and the thing that should be your main source of income, you're kind of failing at.
Yeah, I mean, he did go on a podcast. I don't remember the name of the podcast. It was a pretty highly produced podcast. That was it was popping for a little bit.
It was probably Glasscock. It was probably Glasscock. I'm
not sure.
Yeah.
That's a crazy last name, by the way. Anyways,
I love it. I use it all.
He was on that podcast, and the interviewer asked him, do you feel like if you stopped bowling on tour, that the content would take a hit. And Darren responded with, "No, I actually think it'd be better for the content if I stopped bowling on tour." And so that's kind of a testament to your point, where if he was able to focus just fully on the content, because that is the thing that's making more money, then it would have been kind of more beneficial. But again, to his point, and which I will stand by, you know what I mean? Like, and represent on his end, like he always like his focus is bowling. And no matter how he gets there, like he wants to do it for them. That's what it is. And he never wanted to be necessarily considered, I don't think, a bowling YouTuber. He still has a desire and a dream to leave his legacy on the sport. And I hope he does one day.
You've been around the bowling community for a minute now, right?
5 years, yeah.
Yeah, and I hope you remain involved in the bowling community, because I have viewed you as an asset to the bowling community since you helped develop Darren's channel, and obviously,
Appreciate that.
Yeah, you were featured on there a little bit, so I feel like content wise, I got to know you from watching the content. Do you have any opinion as to why bowling's in the spot it's in, or like, do you have any takes? Because you weren't a bowler before all this, right? Am I correct? Okay. So, do you have any thoughts on why bowling as a community is in the position in terms of the lack of appeal at the higher levels, the lack of prize money, the lack of popularity amongst young people, et cetera, et cetera? What do you think about that?
Yeah, so I'm kind of in a unique, or let's say I was in a kind of a unique position. I still kind of am, where I was a fan of bowling, and that's how I got into it, because I was Darren's fan first. So I found him on his show that he was the one seed, and then I looked him up, and then he was doing some Twitch stuff, live streaming. But I was not a bowler. I was not a league bowler, but I owned a bowling ball because I bowled a 200 game one time with a house ball. And I'm like, all right, now I'm buying my own bowling ball. And I think that says all that it needs to say about this. Like, I think what it is a lack, unfortunately, of a lack of respect from the casual players, where they feel like they can do what they see these guys do because they don't know what they're bowling on is 15 times harder than what they have at their local house or whatever. Or, like, you know what I mean? Like, the biggest thing that you could do is get a strike or whatever. That's what people think. Obviously bowling a 300 game is one thing, but I think it's a lack of respect because the barrier to entry is so low. I think the barrier to entry to the professionals of the sport is very low if you compare it to other professional sports where you're in an arena or a stadium or at a basketball game, where even sitting courtside, the players just leave and go, to and from the locker room, and you don't get to interact with them like that. But in bowling, it's completely different. The same people that are bowling at this professional sport are hanging out in the same places that the fans are when it's not their squad. So there's a lack of barrier there that I think eliminates the prestige of what we want the sport to be. And at least in terms of respect, I think that's where it's at. In terms of money, I don't know. That's a way further thing. But I think that answers most of your questions.
You know what I would love to see happen? You want to know what I would love to see happen? I'm going to give you a huge endorsement here, Jesse. I would love to see the PBA put somebody like Jesse in charge of the new shows on the CW network. Let somebody like Jesse get a hold of the shows and do something different with them. I mean, do you have any thoughts, bro, on like the production quality of the PBA shows? Like, it's something that me and I'm sure you don't watch a lot of bowling content, so I'm not going to sit here in front like, oh yeah, Jesse watches Sweep the Rack and knows what we talk about every week. But like, we talk a lot about how the shows are just produced in a boring manner. Do you have any thoughts on that? I mean, you've probably watched some professional bowling shows along the way. Anything pop out to you about how to make that a more attractive product to people out there?
I honestly don't think the production of the shows is all that bad. Like, I enjoy being there during the production of the show and kind of watching it. I think, again, it's about that first image, what it looks like, right? All these fans are just right there on the side, and they get to talk to these bowlers immediately after they're done off the show. And that's just like not normal for a respected, like professional sport. I think I don't think it's possible right now, but if there was some sort of bowling arena built where fans are kind of in stands away from it and players go to and from locker rooms and they don't really get to interact with them, that starts to create some of that elite separation, that you want, for players to be respected more. In terms of the actual production value, again, I'm not really qualified for this. Not really my
No, it's
not
all right.
not
I
not
just,
my forte. Yeah.
again, I just
Um,
didn't know, like, from watching shows, or over the years, if anything ever popped in your head of like, man, because the way me and Rob look at it is just they just do the same old, same old. Like
sure.
it's been the same for many years. They don't really try and change it in any way. They don't try and do anything different. We kind of feel like it creates boredom. It creates an environment where the entertainment value is not what we feel it could be or should be anyway.
I
But
would say the best. I mean, maybe you guys agree, maybe not. But the best show that I've seen in the last 3 or 4 years is that show with Packy and Kevin when they were piping up the crowd the whole time. You guys
yeah,
remember that?
yeah.
Yeah. And so if there's a
Are you
little
talking
bit
about
more of
one
that
where
and
he
left,
bowled Kevin Williams?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That was
And
the World
so if
Series in Detroit, right?
Yeah.
correct, yeah, it was, and it felt like a PBA league show. And so if there's more of that, obviously that's kind of dependent on the players a little bit. But if there's just more fan interaction in that sense, where it's more engaging and more exciting, I think that could be good.
I
But
think
I mean, this.
Jesse. Yeah, I would love for you to read my article that I wrote on Jeff Riggle's 11th frame. Cold bowling is boring, and here's how to fix it.
Mhm.
And I made a lot of WWE comparisons because, and Mike hates it. Mike hates WWE, but I feel like you have an entertainment company that's worth billions where it's a scripted show and they're able to get billions of people to watch. I think there needs to be a little bit more of a competitive storyline, a little bit of more drama, a little bit of more outgoing personalities. And people love drama. I mean, look, you're living it right now with Darren.
Yeah.
People love drama, and people, they attach to it, and then they pick sides. I'm on Team Jesse. I'm on Team Darren. I'm neutral. But people like that, and when you have two competitors at a high level.
Yeah, and honestly, that's one of the reasons I asked what I asked, because when you watch Darren Tang's videos, at least the ones that Jesse was producing, where he's bowling on tour and he's bowling a tournament, that's the kind of shit that you and I want to see as part of the actual show, Rob. You know what I'm talking about? Like it's telling a story. It's telling the story of Darren Tang's block, or it's telling the story of Darren Tang's week, right? Well, we've always felt strongly for a while, Jess, that yeah, like the PBA should be doing more of that. Like they should be doing more of what you YouTube guys are doing. We're trying to make that part of the show and build more of the story in it. Obviously there's limited time, so it becomes a little bit harder. But yeah, I just found it interesting.
I like that. I like that. I think you know how sometimes they do throw in, like, if the 2 seed and the 3 seed bowl against each other in match play earlier in the season, and they have the lower third, and then maybe they cut to a clip of it, but like that's definitely not their focus. I do see that though, if they did add more of those storytelling elements, throughout the week and then leading up to the show, and kind of told more of a story. But then you get into like less time. You get time restraints on the show, more money to be spent, because then you have to hire another cameraman to follow certain people around.
Yeah,
it's always gonna come. It's always gonna come back to money for them, and that's not where Bolero is at.
I got a question, Mike. I got a final question, because I know you're on a poker break right now.
The final question needs to be like, where's he going?
Well, no, I got a more important question.
All right, go
so
ahead.
Can you give free advice to a couple of amateur YouTube hacks like us that barely have 2,000 subscribers?
He's trying to generate income. He wants advice on generating income. Son.
No, I'm more.
10 G a month, baby.
Income I don't care about the income until it gets to a point where you do care about the income. I'm more about getting our show out to more people, so more people could listen and watch it. If you were to give some free advice to some amateur YouTube hacks like us, what free advice can you give us to try to grow our YouTube subscribers? I know a lot of people.
What his advice should be. It should be hire the man.
I don't have the money to hire. We don't have the money to hire this man.
I don't think anybody in bowling does, except for maybe Velmo.
Yeah, well, I can guarantee you the rate ain't going to be $250 a video.
No.
Yesterday's price is not today's price, homie. Get it right.
No, so last week, it's funny that you say this, because I was actually thinking about these things. Last week is when I discovered you guys' show. Shout out Stu, who plugged you guys in our messages. And I went through and I looked at it and I watched it. And I will say, okay, so don't take my advice as too harsh. Just take it as real. as somebody that doesn't know you guys, it's hard to sit there and listen to some things that I don't necessarily care about because I don't know you guys yet, you know? And so, like, I will say, even in this specific podcast, I was toggling back and forth between the show when Big Mike was talking about League and the music that I was just listening to when I was in the poker tournament. Um, I will say, at a certain point, when you reach a certain level of audience, it's okay to throw more things in there like that. But if your main focus is to grow, then you have to continue to lean into and double down on the things that people really, really enjoy about you guys. I'm sure you do have 40, 50 viewers in here that do want to listen to Big Mike's league story and whatever. But then you're trying to reach the other 10,000, the other 20,000 that are out there, right? That don't know who Big Mike is yet. You know, as far as we know, he's just the guy sitting behind a mic. That doesn't work yet. So,
Well, I mean, that's why I loved your league night that you guys did on Darren Tang's channel, because it's what I do here, just telling the story, but you were telling the story visually, which
correct,
makes it better, right?
It's a huge difference.
I mean, then people hey, listen, Jess, like Rob and I have talks about this all the time, off the air, on the air. If we did this as a full-time thing, believe me, man, that's content gold to me.
For sure.
Being able to go to league night and record and interview people and all. So, like, yeah, I totally get it. It's just
if it makes you feel any better, Jesse, I don't really want to hear his league report. So
no, this is what let me give you
tune into the podcast, you know. F you guys, I don't care what you say.
No, wait, no. So here's my suggestion, right? Like that was just my my analysis. My suggestion, if you want to continue to keep that in your show, is to maybe sit down 10 minutes before you guys get on at some point, you know, throughout the week, and just maybe you guys do this already, but maybe restructure what you guys are going to talk about. Like, try to have a little bit of clickbait at the top and then atop the show, and then talk about the things you guys personally want to talk about, and then have some more into some stuff at the end, so that people stay throughout the whole thing, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of put together the format for our show based off of other popular podcasts that I listen to, and one of them is the Green Light Pod, football podcast with Chris Long, and they kind of do the same format where he opens up talking about sort of stuff that you don't really need to hear if you don't really want to hear it, but then they get into the meat and potatoes as they go into it, and you know, people can kind of tune in. But I hear
how big is their podcast?
You know, I'll be honest with you, Jesse, and Rob will attest to this. I am not a numbers guy when it comes to all. I don't really pay attention to it much. I think it's whizzle woozy, gobbledygook. Woo, it's whatever. Yeah, 200,000 followers, great, whatever.
Mike's too big. Mike's too.
Tell me the checks. Now, I am going to say that after hearing all this beef and all the discussion of these numbers and 10,000 a month coming in and shit, you got me and Rob talking behind the scenes, son. I'm not going to lie to you. Because there's definitely
money to be made out there, for sure.
No, there is. You're right. That's some serious dough. But I, to be totally honest with you, up to this point, I have never really cared about it. It's not why I do this. You know, we do this because, like, we talk about this stuff anyway. So to us, it's just us bringing what we do to a podcast. We've been doing it for a while now. So, like, to us, it's sort of a hobby type thing. We joked around last week. If you listen to most of the episode, and my joke last week was telling people this podcast cost us money.
Loses money.
You know, people are out there making money like this. This podcast costs us. But listen, I mean, if the opportunity is there, it's definitely interesting to think about those things. I would say it's just tough for me and Rob because the amount of time that we can dedicate to this is ultra limited, right? So our dream is like for somebody to come in and wave a magic wand and be like, here, you got the 200,000 followers. You're making the 10, 20 grand a month. Now you can take some time off if you want and go and do this full time and see where it goes, right?
That's everybody's dream, right?
But my take is also that the bowling community it's dying. I mean, it's a dying community. It's like we're trying to revive it. We're doing all these things to try and bring it back and breathe life into it. We haven't had a lot of success over.
I don't know, Mike, because the YouTube subscribers on these channels don't tell me it's dying, but ultimately,
I hear you.
I'll give you a little bit of insight on my content, if you don't mind, just for a second.
No,
he did mention that he wants to see me stay in the bowling community. And before all this drama happened, the last tournament that I ever traveled for was the Lucy in Houston, and I thought that was going to be it, right? I thought we were going to part ways, do the separation, and everything would be fine. And then I was going to kind of give Darren his space back, and then I was just going to go on and do something else. But obviously, after the overwhelming support, from all the fans out there, with the drama, I don't plan to leave bowling. I'm definitely going to stick around. There's definitely some opportunities out there, and I don't think bowling is going to die. And I'm going to do everything that I can to keep it alive with social media. I have a new strategy that I'm going to take to my channel. It's going to be kind of like a solo journalism route. So if you guys really liked the Darren Tang vlogs where it was highly produced, telling his story of his bowling throughout the week, well, now I'm not limited to Darren Tang. Right now I could do that with Drama. Now I could do that with Cal Troop. Now I could do that with EJ. You know what I mean? I've built these relationships with these guys over the years. And my goal is to have the biggest bowling channel on YouTube still. I got to start over a little bit, and I gotta get back above Darren's channel. But I think I can do it with the right relationships that I've built, and then building the same, if not better, content moving forward.
All right. So before we get you out of here, let the people know where can they find your YouTube content. Now that you're not at the D Tang channel.
It's the other.
I was strategically okay. This side right
Yeah,
here.
there you go. Yeah.
Strategically put my on my name so people can find me on Instagram or on YouTube. It's the same thing.
So Jesse, let me give you a piece of advice, okay, from somebody who's a big loves personality of bowlers, and there's a lot of it out there.
Community, man. My advice would be go to the poker world. Forget about bowling.
Yeah, forget about bowling. But
that may or may not be in the plans.
So here's my advice: is find the bowlers that are going to give you the most personality.
Mm-hmm.
That's where people will gravitate towards. People love charisma. They love personality. I saw DJ Archer's name get in the chat. Hilarious DJ Archer. You talk to him. He's funny. Tommy Jones, very funny if you really get to know him. Yeah. There's a lot of people you could hand pick out. It's tough because a lot of the pro bowlers these days they like to give cookie cutter answers. They're very PC, but if you find the ones that are going to give you some really good tidbits and some really good charm and some personality, people are going to gravitate towards that. That's just my expert amateur YouTube advice.
Oh, yeah. I love that. And I've heard the exact same thing from Stu, and there's a reason why he doesn't bring certain people on his podcast. And so I'll be taking all that to heart. And I hope to create some good stuff for you guys. Keep it alive. Keep it alive.
No doubt, man. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for jumping on. Very, very late of you to just jump in from the chat. We didn't have this planned at all, so we appreciate that. As you said, people can check you out at Jesse Makes Films. We've enjoyed the beef, bro. Thanks for the entertainment. It's a slow time. It's a slow time for bowling content during the summer. So to have you guys beefing and arguing with each other over the internet and bringing receipts was just amazing, especially for us because it gave us something to talk about for a few episodes here. So we appreciate that. Hope to see you stick around the bowling community, but do me a favor, bro. I know you're out there in Vegas. I know the King of the Patch Pirates is out there.
He doesn't know who King of the Patch Pirates is.
I'm going to tell him
I don't know who that is.
It's Louis Napolis, okay?
Okay, I just with him yesterday.
Yeah, well, don't align yourself with the King of the Patch Pirates. Okay?
Oh, my gosh. That's my buddy.
That.
What are you talking about?
If you do that, I'm gonna have to talk poorly about you on here. I'm sorry. I'm gonna tell you that right now. So stay away from that. All right.
It's funny because I like Luis. Like I know Luis. I'm
not saying anything about the guy. He could be the nicest guy in the world. I'm just saying you don't want to be around the King of the Patch Pirates. Okay, leave that be.
All right.
Good luck at the poker tournament, bro. Go, Mom.
Yeah. Thank
you.
Appreciate
you, man. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Later.
Yo, you gotta throw in the Luis Napolis. That's his buddy. Was with him yesterday, and you're just like, oh, hey, like don't align yourself with him. I'm trying to get some advice on how to grow a YouTube channel. And
honestly, I feel so strongly about that. Like somebody in the chat just said he's already signed the contract with Lewis. I feel so strongly about that if that's true, Jesse, email us and I'll better his offer. I'll better you can come work for us before you go work for him. That's ridiculous. I wouldn't let that happen.
I'm gonna try to produce and record my own video in the next. I don't know what timeline it's gonna be because of all the editing and all the headaches that doing a video, but I'm feeling very strongly about what this video is going to be. And if it comes out the way I'm imagining it, and the creative person in me could put out this video, I think people will absolutely love it. And I think bowling needs more of it. So I'm going to be TBD on that. I don't want to promise anything because knowing me, I get started and then I just don't finish it. But yeah, Mike, cool for Jesse to jump on Impromptu. Not expecting it. No questions lined up. We were just going to talk about, summarize the beef and summarize it and then go from there. But now I'm going to have to reach out to Darren and try to get Darren on and at least give Darren the opportunity to come in and respond or talk through it. Because yeah, I agree with Jesse. Like we need to hear Darren's side of it and why Darren went public with it. And a response to Jesse's response. So I'd be interested to hear Darren's response to Jesse's response. So yeah, the drama continues. Wu-Tang is here forever. If you don't know, now you know.
Let's give the people what they want.
All right, let's do it.
So, based on Jesse's advice, does that mean that we should do worst of the week in the opening?
Maybe we should rename your league review worst of the week.
Right.
I mean, we could look at restructuring a little bit, change up some stuff. I have some ideas actually, if I could figure out how to do it. But we could talk after, not this show, but we'll talk later this week. I have some ideas that could change if I can get the format and it to display correctly when we do the show. I think would be really cool. I have an idea. How about that?
Okay.
All right, Mike, let me talk my worst of the week here. My worst of the week. If anybody doesn't remember the show we did a couple months ago where we talked about people stealing league money, that happens all the time and it's pretty consistent in bowling, especially league bowling. Well, a report went local media where a treasurer from I believe it was North Mountain Home, Arkansas. Okay, so my worst of the week goes to Timothy Lyle King from Flippin, who was arrested for allegedly stealing $17,000 or $17,115 from a local bowling league. He claimed the money had been stolen from his vehicle, but after investigators noted that the vehicle was unlocked and the only footprints at the scene belonged to King and another person present. He's now facing felony theft charges and released on $10,000 bond. So my comment here is the fact that you stole money from what sounds like a very small town in Arkansas, where they actually were looking at footprints, Mike. Footprints. There was an investigation done at this gentleman's car, figuring out where the money went. So if you're going to steal money from a bowling league, you should probably leave it to the big cities, like where we live, the big metro areas, because if I called the police and I said, hey, someone stole $17,000 from my league in Brooklyn, the police would show up probably like 2 weeks later and they would laugh at you. They'd fill out a report and they would leave and you would never see the money ever again. This little town of Mount Home, Arkansas, and I could be wrong. It could be a big town. I don't know. They did an investigation where they got footprints. I could just see them having the little brush and they're like taking fingerprints off the cars and like going back to their big boards in their precinct and putting pictures up and trying to figure out who did it. And I'm here for it, Mike. They arrested him and he's now going to probably get in pretty bad trouble because it's a felony. So congrats, Timothy Lyle King, for getting arrested for stealing money.
I mean, did they recover all the money, though?
According to the story, The winnings were not paid out, and the bowling alley hadn't been compensated for it. And King couldn't explain the discrepancy and failed to repay the league, eventually ceasing contact with authorities. So it doesn't seem like they got the money back. Jim, what's up? Jim says it's a tourist town in the Ozarks.
Ooh, Ozarks, good TV show. Good
So
TV show.
I guess, like, I don't know, is the Ozarks? Yeah, that's Arkansas, right? The Ozarks, or is that Missouri? I thought Missouri was the Ozarks, or is it big? And I don't know. Now I'm just confused. But anyway,
Okay. Don't steal league money. That's the bottom line.
don't steal league money. Don't cheat either.
Yeah.
Don't cheat either. You get caught.
Okay. My worst of the week this week comes from the bowlingballtrader.com Facebook page. Okay. Now, my worst of the week, I'm going to have to read it in a certain way because it's not the poster that I'm giving worst of the week to. It's the topic of the poster's post. So let me explain here. Okay. So Eric Samples post on bowlingballtrader.com, and in his post he posts a screenshot of a seller review that a person named Junior left of him. Okay, so it's a review of Eric Samples as a seller of a bowling ball on this bowlingballtrader.com. Okay, so I'm gonna read the review first. It's a 1-star review. It's a 1-star review. So my guy Junior, who wrote this review about Eric, he was not very happy with Eric. He gave him a 1-star review. Okay. The review says the following: told me it was his ball, but was actually his wife's. I had to get it re-drilled, and also sold me a defective Jopo sleeve, missing a spacer and no slug. I could have bought a new ball with the total cost. Unfortunately, in my experience, the guy scammed me. Okay. Now, couple things that might stick out to you just in my reading of that post. Okay. For instance, how does this guy know whether it's the dude's ball or his wife's ball? What if dude just has really small fingers, really small hands?
Maybe it had her name on it.
Secondly, he says, I had to get it re-drilled. Well, wasn't that going to be the case no matter what? I mean, you're buying a used bowling ball. Did this guy, Junior, expect that he's going to go buy the used bowling ball? It's going to fit his hand perfectly. He's not going to have to get it re-drilled.
You'd be surprised what people expect.
Okay. So now Eric, in his post, he says the following. Okay. Some people really need to do some research before they post reviews. The guy also met me in person and got the ball. It was my ball. How would he know if it was mine or the wife's ball? Definitely need to do some research on the whole Joe Post setup. Nonetheless, the guy really made me laugh. So to make this situation even dumber, the guy, Junior, who wrote the review, actually showed up in person to buy this ball. So he shows up in person to buy the ball, puts his hand in the ball, sees the Joe Poe grip in person, buys it, then goes home and writes this review. Junior, you got worst of the week, bro. Congrats.
Yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't just like not buy the ball there, like check it over, make sure you're like.
When you'd be like, oh, this fingers and thumb are way too small. Sorry, bro, I'm not going to buy this. I thought it would fit my hand. That easy.
Yeah, unless the person was intimidated, unless he was intimidated by the other person and didn't want to like cause any kind of drama. Like, I don't know. You know how some people, when you go to a restaurant, like doesn't matter what the waiter or waitress brings to the table, like you're probably just going to eat it, even if you don't like it or they undercooked it or overcooked it. And then you have other people who will bring back every like piece of food. Sometimes people don't want to have some kind of like controversy. They don't want to have what is the word I'm looking for, Mike? Where they don't want to fight with the people. They just want to get it and be done with it. So weird story. I like to bring them both on the show and get and talk to them both about like this whole bowling ball trader beef. Because people love the drama. So I guess we learned that the last few weeks. All right, Mike, let's finish this up.
All right. My final thought this week, Rob, is about a social media post that went out this week from, I forget if it was Tom Clark or the PBA, but it was a picture of Tom Clark with the people from the CW network. And he said the schedule's coming out soon. This excites me because I want to see what this is like. It actually scares me a little bit too, but I want to see what this is like. I want to see the schedule. We're going to have a lot to talk about when the schedule comes out. I kind of reserved comment on this whole new TV deal until we can see this schedule. So that's my final thought. I'm anxiously awaiting that info to drop.
Yeah, because we've been really punting our takes on all the deals until we saw more specifics of what the PBA was going to be doing, right?
Yeah, well, I can't give a take when I don't know what it is. Right? I don't want to say, oh yeah, deal with the CW is great. Oh my goodness, this is awesome. And then a few months later they come out with a schedule that I think is crap. And then I gotta go back on that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. It'll be for sure. Then we could start doing some like preview shows on what the next year looks like, some predictions, speculation. It literally like starts the talk of the PBA season. So hopefully they can get out that soon, because normally they would push that on like November or December, right? They'd be waiting, but maybe it'll get out earlier.
Made me wonder. I'm just speculating here. Made me wonder if we're going to see it start earlier because they're going to be coming out with that earlier.
You think they'll after the holidays? You think they'll run it during the holidays?
Right, start in December. Or start in November, possibly.
I'd be interested to see if they would have it during like Thanksgiving or Christmas time. I'd be interested to see that in whatever. Cool, but that's exciting.
Go up against the NFL. That's amazing. Yeah, especially when the NFL is expanding. It's going to be on like every night of the week. Be great. Yeah. No doubt.
Cool.
All right, Rob, any final thought here?
Yeah. PWBA is done the season, and maybe we'll talk more next week.
Their last event's going on right now.
Yeah, the Tour Championship in New York. But the last Shannon Pluhowski won her 5th title, a career title. Now is Hall of Fame eligible, which is crazy.
One of the GOATs.
I know, 5 titles, like crazy. One of the ones that definitely with the PWBA when it went off of the map was one of the people that for sure suffered. And Stephanie
Johnson, one of the lefty goats, bro. She one of the lefty female goats, no question. Alita Sill, Tish Johnson,
Kelly Kulick.
No, I'm saying lefties.
Oh, lefties.
Yes. Female lefty goats.
Yes.
She's definitely on that list.
For sure. Tish Johnson would be the first,
Dude, I used to try and throw it like Tish Johnson.
She was physical game was crazy.
So good. I swear to God, I used to try and because the place I bowled at was wood, so you had to float middle because they hook so much. I used to try and throw like Tish Johnson, bro. She was.
Yeah. Oh, I think Mike. Oh, there you go. You're back.
I'm back. All right. Let's wrap it up, Rob.
All right. Yeah, and don't forget about Stephanie Johnson. She also won her 5th career title too. And then that was in the Rochester Open. So another female who is an amazing bowler, Stephanie. So all right, well we'll talk more next week on some of the PWBA like wrap up. So let's finish this up.
No doubt.
I hit that by accident.
We appreciate everybody joining us. We appreciate everybody in the chat. We appreciate Jesse jumping in as well. We'll be back next week. Okay. I hope everybody enjoyed the audio quality of my new microphone. Get back to us. Let us know what you thought about that. Okay. And we'll be back next week. Maybe I don't know. Maybe we get a PBA schedule this week. I think that's probably wishful thinking, but
For sure, wishful thinking. But football's back.
It's preseason.
It is, but it's still football, and it's still.
I'm more
fancy
interested.
football
I'm more interested in Hard Knocks than I am in the actual preseason games.
I'm talking fancy football drafting seasons upon us too.
Fantasy football's jumped the shark, bro.
I'm still
doing fantasy football.
Jesus,
It's so old.
Yeah, I like fantasy football.
Gambling, just straight gambling is the new thing, bro.
You could do that too. So, all right, wrap it up. If you want to like, subscribe, do us a favor, get us to 100,000 subscribers.
Oh my goodness! Oh man,
We're only about 98,000 away. So you guys keep chipping away. Tell your friends. Tell your friends. I mean, put it at work. Show people work. Have them come over and use their Gmail accounts to subscribe to the channel.
There has to be some people that listen to this podcast who, like you, Rob, are in positions of authority at their jobs. Perhaps they could force their underlings to create Gmail accounts and give us a follow.
Who says I haven't done that already at my work?
Team meeting. There's team meeting. It's like, hey, one more thing I need you to do today. I need you to go on YouTube to Sweep the Rack and give a follow. Okay.
Who says I already didn't do that, Mike, at my work?
Well, you should. I feel like that should be part of your onboarding process at this point.
You know what the problem is? The problem is now people who work for me are getting notifications.
They fill out benefits and salary information. They get their direct deposit to their bank account, and then the next thing you give them is, okay, look up Sweep the Rack on YouTube. Okay, give a follow and a like there. Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Well, we appreciate everybody. And we will see everybody next week. Later, guys.
You are now listening to Sweep the Rack podcast featuring Brooklyn Rob and Big Mike.